November 22, 1864. Futile charge. The Battle of Griswoldville took place east of Macon, Georgia, during Major General William T. Sherman's March to the Sea. It was the first major engagement of the campaign after Union forces departed Atlanta. The action developed when Confederate troops, composed mainly of Georgia state militia and reserve units, encountered a Union force under Brigadier General Charles C. Walcott. The Union troops were part of the XV Corps, left to protect Sherman's right flank as the larger Federal columns moved toward the coast. The Union Brigade took up a defensive position near the small industrial town of Griswoldville, which included a Confederate arms factory that Union cavalry had already destroyed earlier that day. The Confederate militia, commanded in the field by Brigadier General Pleasant J. Phillips, launched multiple direct assaults against the fortified Union line in the afternoon. The composition of the opposing forces shaped the outcome. Walcott's brigade consisted of experienced Union infantry supported by artillery. They selected ground that offered a strong defensive advantage, placing men behind makeshift works and fence lines. The Confederate force contained large numbers of older men and boys, drawn from Georgia's militia and reserve units mobilized late in the war. These troops lacked the training and battlefield experience of regular Confederate Army formations. When Phillips advanced his men in several frontal attacks against the Union position, they faced concentrated rifle fire and artillery. The assaults failed to break the line, and the Union defenders held their ground until nightfall. Casualty figures reflect the disparity in preparation and position. Union losses numbered around 62 killed and wounded. Confederate losses were much higher, with estimates of approximately 650 killed, wounded, and missing. Contemporary reports and later military studies agree that most of the casualties fell on the attacking Confederate militia during the repeated charges. The battlefield became evidence of the toll exacted on a state defense force that had little capacity to counter veteran Union infantry. After sustaining heavy losses, the Confederate militia withdrew from the field. Walcott himself was wounded during the fight, and command passed to another Union officer. But the Federal position remained intact until the brigade received orders to fall back during the night to rejoin the main campaign. The engagement did not alter the direction of Sherman's march, but it held clear military significance. Griswoldville demonstrated that isolated Confederate units in Georgia could not stop the coordinated movement of Union forces toward Savannah. The militia attack represented one of the few organized efforts to challenge Sherman's advance in central Georgia. Its failure underscored the inability of the Confederate state system to mount a sustained defense late in 1864. The destruction of the nearby arms factory earlier the same day further reduced Georgia's capacity to support the war effort. The battle also illustrated the shifting nature of Confederate manpower. By late 1864, the Confederate government and state authorities called on younger boys and older men to fill militia ranks. Their presence at Griswoldville showed the degree to which the Confederacy relied on reserve forces outside the main field armies. The heavy losses suffered by these militia units represented a significant blow to Georgia's remaining home defense resources. Griswoldville highlighted the strain placed on the Confederacy's internal defenses as regular Confederate forces were concentrated elsewhere against larger Union threats. For the Union, the battle confirmed the effectiveness of Sherman's operational plan. The ability of a single Union brigade to hold off a larger attacking force indicated that the Confederate defenders in Georgia lacked the strength to disrupt the march. With the right flank secure after the encounter, Sherman's columns continued eastward with little organized resistance in the immediate region. The fight at Griswoldville provided evidence that Union forces could move through Georgia without the need for prolonged engagements, accelerating the march toward Savannah and weakening Confederate morale. Griswoldville also marked a rare instance in which state militia carried out a major independent assault during the campaign. The decision to attack a fortified position showed the urgency felt by local Confederate commanders in defense of Georgia. The result revealed the limits of militia action when facing entrenched, battle-tested troops. The high casualty rate contributed to the growing recognition within Confederate leadership that the state lacked the means to halt Sherman's advance through direct confrontation in the field. In the broader context of the Civil War, the battle's significance lies in its confirmation of strategic conditions in late 1864. The Union Army could operate deep in Confederate territory with limited opposition, while the Confederacy struggled to assemble effective forces for defense. Griswoldville became a clear indicator of Georgia's weakened military position and the declining ability of the Confederacy to protect its interior. The engagement stands as the opening battle of Sherman's movement across Georgia, and a stark demonstration of the imbalance between Union military power and Confederate state defenses in the final year of the war. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.